Hello everybody, I hope you are well. Welcome back to another Microsoft Flight Sim news video. Without further delay, allow us to head right into this bumper Microsoft Flight Sim news video covering everything from the 737 to a 767 and new releases on both PC and Xbox. Kicking it off with a new freeware Boeing 767-300 extended range, which has been announced for Microsoft Flight Sim by Lunar Simulations. You can join their Discord via the link in the description. This is a new development team which, quite frankly, I have not heard of before, seeing as they only announced this project 5 days ago on the Microsoft Flight Sim forums, but from what I've seen so far, it does look somewhat promising. We've got some screenshots and videos which I am sharing on the screen right now of the 767 cockpit. Quite nicely, with this mod, it incorporates Salty Simulations mod, which means some systems from the Salty Sim team have been transported over and implanted into the 767. That does mean it's not 100% realistic to real life, but it also means that as they're not building this up from the ground, it can come to us slightly quicker, and it does mean we're almost guaranteed a fairly good standard right from the start. Of course, we've got things like a custom EFB, a realistic flight model, and from what it looks like, a very well designed cockpit. Still a lot of progress to go, especially looking towards the glare shield, but to me it is a very good start. It will be the Boeing 767-300ER with Pratt & Whitney engines, and I would recommend you join their Discord to learn more, or of course subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with this project, because I will be extensively covering it. Moving over to the next news story, heading onto the PMDG forums, Robert Radazzo has updated us on basically all of PMDG's operations, kicking it off with the 737, 600, 700 and 800. There has been an update released on the operations center that you can install now across the family. The main update here is to do with ground handling. They've basically flipped back from a Sobo system over to their home-built system when it comes to ground handling, and although I confess to never taxiing a real 737 around, on Microsoft Flight Sim you can feel somewhat of a difference. Definitely feels a bit more responsive but more realistic motion as well. There's also all of the bug fixes and improvements you'd come to expect, and you can read the full changelog on the forum post, which I very kindly linked down below. Moving over to the 737-900, he does say it's effectively finished with testing, and that they're now working to clean up a few last minute details for an impending release, so we should see this within the next few weeks or so. That's pretty exciting, although I confess I probably won't be buying it, seeing as I've bought every other version of the 737, I don't think I can justify it to my wallet. Moving over to the DC-6, it's an aircraft I haven't spoken about for some time, but they're very close to releasing a new update for the DC-6, and while he is deliberately ambiguous about this, as you can see on the screen, I'm going to take an educated guess. He does say he's waiting for a specific update at platform level to drop, as it is required for the changes he has made to the DC-6. I'm going to take a guess and say it's to do with Xbox, waiting for Sim Update 12 and WASM support. Of course, the DC-6 was released for Xbox quite some time ago, but then taken off because of too many bugs basically. And finally, with the 777, he does say work continues with it, but in the back of the house, at the front of the house, they are focused on the 737 and the DC-6. That's some very good news, I think. Thank you to Robert for his wonderful update, a really good update, really promising news from the PMDG team. We're still waiting for that EFB, work continues on it, but it looks like it's a bit more difficult than they envisioned, and they're actually having to take some advice off a Sobo, as it seems to be rather difficult, so still some time there it seems. But alas, us. Moving over to the third out of the fourth news story in this video, Just Flight have released FS Traffic for Microsoft Flight Sim on PC. I've got a dedicated video to this product, so you can check that out by clicking in the top right corner now. To sum it up, it is a pretty good add-on, but coming in at 27 quid, I do struggle to justify it over freeware alternatives such as FSLTL, simply because it is too reliant on Microsoft Flight Sim's default AI system. In fairness to Just Flight, it is not their fault, as that's almost 100% locked by Asobo. But it does mean you'll get some of the bugs that many of us are used to with the default system, and in fairness, the other alternatives, whether that be weird flight plans, weird sounds, and a big impact on FPS. Sadly, FS Traffic does not mitigate a lot of them, but it has got really good 4K models, so that's a plus. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I've got a dedicated video to it, so if you're interested, feel free to check it out. Hasn't been released on Xbox just yet, but that is planned. One nice thing about it is that you don't have to rely on opening anything up. It's basically plug and play. You do install 2 files, and then once you've got it installed, you just need to adjust a few settings in Microsoft Flight Sim, load it up as it says, and then it's basically good to go. You don't need to open up another file or script like you do with FSLTL, and it's nowhere near as difficult to install as Alpha India Group's AIG Traffic. So in terms of ease of use, it's probably the easiest. But is that worth 26 quid? I don't know. Probably not at the moment. I hope Just Flight, once Asobo allows it, can improve the add-on a lot and make it the best. I'm sure they will. And finally, Tornado have released the Piper PA28 181 Archer for Microsoft Flight Sim. This is available via the marketplace for both PC and Xbox, and comes in at a price of around $20 US. Tornado aren't known for the most realistic products, but they're always set a pretty good standard, so if you're a Piper nut, this may be for you. I won't be picking it up because I'm very happy with my 152, but it's always nice to have the variety and choice. With 5 liveries, a selection of GPS options, and all the sounds and textures you'd expect with a Microsoft Flight Sim level aircraft, you can now pick it up from the marketplace. From me today, that is all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. It really does mean a lot. But from me today, that is all. I'll see you around. Bye bye.